course, your expectations from this budget today, Jayant, but how much will actually, be put forth today, and how much will perhaps be left for the new government to put in, whether that is Prime Minister Narendra Modi again, or whether that is someone else who wins the 2024 general elections? We perhaps will know later this year. But how many announcements do you expect today, and how much do you believe will be left for the new government to perhaps announce later in the year? What are you expecting today, Jayant?
So I think one thing is very clear that, see, India today is, the fastest growing major economy in the world. But the unfortunate truth is that good economics still doesn't make good politics in our country, and more so when Lok Sabha elections are around the corner. So if you look at the history of budgets in the country in the last several decades, actually, the election year budgets have mostly been populist and have been a far cry from, walking the talk while pursuing the reforms agenda. And let's understand, this is not a full budget. This is an interim budget, or you can call it a vote on account, which is some kind of which gives some kind of an interim authorization to the government to spend money. But still, the expectation of most economists is that it'll try to strike a delicate equilibrium, between the populist announcements as well as the containing the fiscal deficit. That's very, very important. So some kind of a fiscal prudence is expected in this budget, because this, the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman's fifth budget, which very, very few finance ministers have been able to complete the term. But we do expect that the containment of fiscal deficit would be in the direction of containing it to eventually 4.5% of GDP by next financial year end, and by this financial year end to about 5.3%. So that is my expectation. There also, if you look at the populism, people do expect that there would be, income tax benefits for the common man, for the huge middle class, which constitutes a huge voter base. But fundamentally, I would like to come to some issues which, the budget must address, and at least, if not in toto, then at least, it must herald a direction. See, three things which I'm largely worried, despite the fact that Indian economy is doing well. But if we want that over and above, us becoming the fourth largest or third largest economy, I think we should also rank high on the Human Development Index. Then two areas which require a huge amount of attention is education and skills and healthcare. And, this is something, if you look at education and skills, we spend barely about, 3% of our GDP on this. I'm talking about the government spend. This has to go up to at least 6%. I know it can't happen in 1 year, but that change, the step-up change, has to start happening from this budget year onwards. If India has to actually realize that, the latent potential of a demographic dividend. Similarly, healthcare, we spend just about 2% of our GDP on the public expenditure on healthcare. This has to go up to 4% in foreseeable future. That's very, very important. If health for all goal has to be to masses, So I think, and third, which I think is very, very important, see, we are at such a cusp of our growth as a nation. It is very important that a lot of research and development happens in our country, and a lot of intellectual property gets created in our country, rather than we working on borrowed technologies all the time, or licensed technologies all the time from US and European or Japanese giants. That's very, very important. Where we spend just about 0.7% of our GDP on science and technology R&D, this has to go up to about 2.5%. So I think, these are fundamental course corrections, and the present government headed by Narendra Modi, I'm sure they fully realize this, that, if India has to become a developed country, we may become the third largest economy or second largest economy. But if we really want to become a developed country, I think this, our performance on the Human Development Index has to go up, and we have to eventually become, by virtue of R&D happening in our country, a knowledge-driven, innovation-driven economy. I think that's a must, and the budget must herald a change in that direction.
Okay. We are learning also that Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will be leaving her house at 7:30 a.m. today. It's a chock-a-block itinerary for the FM this morning. FM will, of course, leave at 7:30 a.m. from her residence. She will then be going to Rashtrapati Bhavan, where perhaps she will reach about 8:15 a.m.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.